Hey everyone, and a massive welcome to this video. To every single person tuning in, from all corners of the globe, I genuinely hope you're doing well. In a world that can sometimes feel a little chaotic, I truly hope you and your families are safe, happy, and most importantly, in the very best of health. Taking time out of your day to learn something new is a wonderful thing, so thank you for being here. Let's settle in and talk about one of the most incredible secrets happening right under our noses, quite literally, in the natural world. Imagine you're taking a quiet walk through a beautiful, sun-dappled forest. The air is fresh, filled with the gentle smell of damp earth, pine needles, and maybe the sweet scent of a few wildflowers. It feels peaceful, calm, and still. It seems like the plants around you are just passive decorations, silently soaking up the sun and waiting for rain. But what if I told you that this serene scene is actually a hub of constant, frantic conversation? What if I told you that the trees, the shrubs, even the grass beneath your feet, are all talking to each other? And they're not just chatting about the weather, they are sending out urgent warnings, crying out for help, and forming alliances that would put any social network to shame. They are doing all of this through an invisible, silent language of chemicals. This isn't science fiction, this is real, groundbreaking science. Plants have their own internet, their own social media, and their own emergency broadcast system, and it's all happening in the air around us and in the vast network beneath the soil. This amazing ability of plants to communicate is a relatively new discovery for scientists, and it completely changes how we view the plant kingdom. For the longest time, we thought of plants as passive organisms. They just grew, reproduced, and died, without any ability to react to their environment in a complex, intentional way. But we were so wrong. Plants are not passive, they are highly active participants in their own survival. They are constantly monitoring their world, assessing threats, and making decisions. And a huge part of that interaction revolves around the release of chemicals. These aren't just simple smells, these are sophisticated messages, encoded in molecular structures, floating through the air or traveling through underground fungal networks. So, how does it work? Let's break it down. When a plant is attacked, say, a hungry caterpillar starts munching on its leaves, the plant doesn't just sit there and take it. It fights back. Its first line of defense is often to produce nasty-tasting or even toxic chemicals right in its leaves to make itself less delicious to the predator, encouraging the caterpillar to move on to something else. But that's only the beginning. Simultaneously, the wounded plant releases a cocktail of volatile organic compounds into the air. Volatile just means these chemicals evaporate easily, turning into a gas that can travel on the breeze. This is the plant's version of shouting a warning to all its neighbors. This chemical scream essentially says, "Alert! Alert! I'm under attack by insects. Brace yourselves." Now, the nearby plants aren't just hearing this message, they are smelling it, or rather, they are absorbing these chemical compounds through their leaves. Their physiology is primed to detect these specific warning signals. When they receive the message, they don't panic, but they do spring into action. They start to change their own chemistry preemptively. They might begin producing those same nasty-tasting defensive chemicals before the caterpillars even arrive on their leaves. It's like the entire neighborhood getting a text message about a burglary and everyone immediately locking their doors and loading their security systems. By the time the threat arrives, the neighboring plants are already prepared and much less palatable, giving them a significant survival advantage. This incredible system is often called the Wood Wide Web, a term that beautifully captures the idea of an interconnected network of information sharing. A huge part of this web exists underground, out of sight. It's facilitated by a miraculous symbiotic relationship between plant roots and a type of fungus called mycorrhizal fungi. These fungi are made up of incredibly tiny, thread-like structures called mycelium that weave through the soil, connecting to the roots of numerous plants at once. The deal is this: the The fungus, which can't make its own food, attaches to the plant's roots and helps the plant absorb more water and nutrients from the soil. In return, the plant shares some of the sugars it makes through photosynthesis with the fungus. It's a beautiful trade partnership. But these fungal networks also act as the fiber optic cables of the plant internet. Scientists have shown that warning signals, in the form of chemical and electrical signals, can travel through these mycelial networks from a stressed plant to a healthy one, allowing for even faster and more targeted communication than the airborne messages. The types of messages being sent are incredibly diverse. It's not just about insect attacks. Plants send warnings about drought, letting their neighbors know that water is becoming scarce so others can start to conserve moisture by partially closing the pores on their leaves. They send signals about disease, like a pathogenic fungus invading their roots. They can even communicate with other species entirely. One of the most famous examples involves the acacia trees in Africa. When a giraffe starts eating their leaves, the trees don't just warn other acacias, they also release a chemical into the air that is detected by a nearby species of tree. This other tree, upon getting the message, starts pumping tannins into its own leaves, making them bitter and unappetizing. The giraffe, a savvy eater, often notices this change and moves on to a different area, showing how this communication can ripple through an entire ecosystem, influencing the behavior of animals. The chemicals themselves are a complex language. Scientists have identified many of these key words. For instance, when a plant's leaf is damaged, it often releases a chemical called methyl jasmonate. This is a major alarm hormone in the plant world. Another one is ethylene, which is involved in fruit ripening but also in stress responses. Greenleaf volatiles are released almost immediately upon damage and create that familiar freshly cut grass smell, which we now know is actually a distress call. The exact blend of these chemicals can even convey specific information, like the type of insect that is doing the eating, allowing the receiving plants to fine-tune their defense to be most effective against that particular threat. This phenomenon forces us to radically rethink our understanding of intelligence and communication. We often define these terms by our own human standards, a brain, a nervous system, sound. But plants show us that intelligence can be decentralized. It can exist in every root and every leaf, a collective wisdom without a central command center. Communication doesn't require sound waves, it can happen through chemical codes. It challenges the very core of what we think we know about the living world. Plants are not just background actors, they are dynamic, sensing, communicating beings. This knowledge isn't just cool trivia, it has huge implications for us, especially for the future of agriculture. Imagine if we could harness this natural communication system. Instead of spraying large amounts of broad-spectrum pesticides that harm beneficial insects and pollute the environment, we could potentially encourage these natural defensive dialogues. We could plant crops in ways that optimize their natural communication networks. We could even develop sprays that contain these natural warning compounds, tricking plants into activating their defenses before a major pest outbreak even begins, leading to a more sustainable, organic, and effective way of protecting our food sources. It's a shift from fighting nature to working with it, by speaking its language. So, the next time you walk through a garden, a park, or a forest, I want you to remember that you are standing in the middle of a constant, bustling conversation. You are surrounded by silent chatter, by urgent bulletins, and by ancient alliances. That gentle rustle of leaves isn't just the wind, it might be the sound of a message being received. The quiet air is thick with information. The peaceful ground is a superhighway of data. Plants are not just living things, they are social, communicative beings. They listen. They warn. They protect each other. They are a testament to the fact that life, in all its forms, finds a way to connect, to adapt, and to thrive together. It's a hidden world of connection, and it's been right beside us all along.